EV Revolution show is supported in part by Budget Safe Solar. If you are considering solar in most any part of North America, give my friends a call. They will take the time to listen to your specific situation and help you reach a decision about what's available to you and what makes the most sense. If you would like to join the growing solar industry, they'd like to speak with you. Go to www.budgetsafesolar.com to contact them. Well, hello. Welcome to this edition of the EV Revolution show. My name is Kenneth Bokor, your host, and this is a special edition where I'm participating in AJAC's, which is the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada, which I am a member of, their EcoRun event. This is the EcoRun 2022. The last one was in 2019 and the last couple of years were canceled. So I'm very honored to be one of the journalists selected to participate in the EcoRun. And what the EcoRun is about is just basically trying to maximize the range of vehicles, basically. And we have an assortment of vehicles here today. We have battery all-electrics, we have plug-in hybrids, we have hybrids, and I think we might have some gasoline ones, but I haven't looked at the list. So obviously I focus on electrification only, so I'll be driving mainly those kind of vehicles, but because we have a large group, we are all going to be intermixed and be able to drive a lot of different vehicles, I think around 9 or 10 in the next 2 days. So I will obviously bring a little bit of video and some thoughts on some of the vehicles that I have here. There's some new ones that I haven't tested out yet or driven. The Genesis GV60 and the GV80 are here, so I'm really excited to get behind the wheel of those and give them a little test at least for an hour or so, because we change cars every hour as we do this 2-day trip up to central Ontario, up to the Sudbury area from the Toronto here in Vaughan, where we start, and we go up to Sudbury and then back down here in 2 days, so it's a nice route. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and let me get right into it. So my first vehicle is going to be the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and I've done 2 reviews of this car, so I won't be spending a lot of time on this particular video on it, just to let you know. Starting off with the all-electric, I love that. Right on to the second waypoint, still driving the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Don't need to go into a lot of details on this vehicle. You guys know I love it. It's World Car Pick of the Year, so EV of the Year, so it definitely has some merits. Great vehicle, and continuing our way up to Tobermory. All right, so we're done the first leg, and it's car switch time for leg number 2 on day 1, where I get to drive the Kia EV6. which you folks have already seen my extensive review of it, so I won't be spending a lot of time talking about it, but I'm excited to get behind the wheel for the next couple of hours and work our way up to Wyerton, Ontario, home of Wyerton Willie. If you're not sure what that is, Google it and you'll find out. So let me get into it. So it's leg 3 here on day 1 of the EcoRun. We're in Wyerton and I'm switching vehicles again for the last vehicle for today. I'm going to be jumping in a Lexus NX 450H Plus all-wheel drive. Boy, that's a mouthful. They got to shorten these names. Now, this is a plug-in hybrid vehicle that Lexus offers. They offer 2. There's the 350 and the 450 that are here in the fleet. So I'll be driving this one for the next leg. Probably I'm expecting the battery to be depleted because it was already driven here by another gentleman. So I'll be running on petrol on this one, but I'll try to see how I can get a low fuel economy on here. And I'll give you my quick driving impressions when I'm in the vehicle. All right, quick impressions. I'm in the Lexus, I forgot what it is now, the 450 whatever. It's the hybrid, so the plug-in hybrid. Now, the electrical charge has already been, the battery charge has already been dissipated because of the previous driver. Coming up here, we did 120 kilometers, so there's nothing in other than what I put back in, through some stop and go braking. Not a whole lot. So I can't really comment on the battery range at this point in time. What I can comment on is just the overall ride. The engine has kicked in, obviously. It's going back and forth between hybrid mode, between full electric when it has a bit of juice, and then with the engine running. I'm doing 80 here on this country road, which is an 80 kilometer road, and it's RPMing at about 1400 RPM or so for the engine, and then it shuts off for a bit as it sucks the battery. So it's in this combo mode as it goes back and forth between fuel and the battery charge that it has. And it constantly does that. It is seamless. I don't hear the engine come on. I only hear the engine if I hard accelerate, or if it's accelerating under engine only, then I hear it a bit. But right now, as it's going back and forth between using fuel, petrol, and using the battery, it's pretty seamless. I only see it because the RPMs will drop to 0, and then I know that it's taking some of the juice, that it's recuperating a little bit through the driving and through the engine acting as a bit of a generator. So I don't 100% have the details on this vehicle as far as the mechanics on the hybrid system. A lot of them are different. Some of them the engine just acts as a generator into the battery, and then everything runs off the battery drivetrain. Some will do it in parallel, so the engine will actually drive the wheels in conjunction with the battery, or sometimes the engine will just drive the wheels permanently. And this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so it can go back and forth between rear and all-wheel drive seamlessly in this vehicle. So, I mean, Lexus is coming out with their all-electric, which I look forward to reviewing at some point in time in the future. But overall, as a plug-in hybrid goes, again, I can't comment on the range of this. I believe it's somewhere probably in the 30 to 40 kilometer range. as a best case. I'll have to look that up, and I'll put some information here on the bottom of the screen on what it actually states the ranges on this battery and the pack size. But you know, obviously it's a Lexus, so build quality, it's fairly quiet. Again, I don't hear the engine even running now on the highway. We've got a bit of rain, so I'm hearing that. Here the tires are a little wider, so I'm hearing some road noise, but you know, otherwise it's a comfortable vehicle. Ergonomically, it's good. I mean, you know, it's a Lexus. It's a nice appointed, fitted automobile, and I'll just see what the best fuel economy that I can get going up to our last destination for today, which is Tobermory, up at the top of the Bruce Peninsula. And in this rain and going predominantly uphill, probably not going to do the best, but if I can get around 5 or 6 liters per 100 kilometer, I think I'll be doing okay. All right, so it's day 2 here at the AJAC EcoRun event. We're in Tobermory getting ready to go board a ferry to take an hour-and-a-half crossing over to Manitoulin Island, which will drive up to Espanola, to Sudbury, to North Bay, and back to Huntsville, which is our end destination for tonight. So my first vehicle that I'm starting with is the Toyota RAV4 Prime. Now I've done a review on that, so I'm not going to be spending any details on this particular episode highlighting the AJAC EcoRun on it. I will on a couple other cars that are coming up, but I've got a great day because I've got 2 brand new Genesis products, the GV60 and the G80. The G80 is the first time they just literally got off the boat a few days ago and landed in Canada here. So we're very excited to be the first group to be actually test driving the G80. Now I won't be able to do anything or to release any information for a couple of weeks yet, but I will do a quick look and I'll put that video up later on in June. We have a windy, rainy day today, so I don't know what kind of excellent fuel economy and efficiency we'll get on the pure EVs, because we have a mix here. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight on this EcoRun, this is the first year that every single vehicle here has some form of electrification. It could be a full electric BEV product, it could be a plug-in hybrid like the Toyota RAV4 Prime, and it could be just a hybrid. We have a couple of those in the crowd. I think the Toyota Sienna minivan, which I'm not driving, is just a hybrid. But what that means is that you see the market changing, right? More towards electrification. The first time in the history of the EcoRun that all vehicles are electrified in some fashion. So really exciting. Let me get loaded up and we'll be catching a ferry soon to cross, and I'll have some more coming up. We're on the ferry over to Manitoulin Island, and it's kind of uneventful. It's a little bit of swells, but we've got some fog, of course, out here as we're in the middle of the strait between the mainland and Manitoulin Island. But hey, you know, it's this is springtime in Canada, folks. Anything can happen, and looking forward to the next part of the driving journey. So I just finished my short drive. I only had about 50-60 kilometers with the G80 here, which is a brand new, fully electrified version of the G80 ICE vehicle. This is one of two first vehicles that are in Canada. We have both of them here. So I was very fortunate enough to be able to drive this. We're the first media to actually drive these in Canada. I can't comment on a lot of this vehicle right now because of we have to wait till June. So you can see the picture. So you'll have to wait for that review coming up in a couple of weeks, but a beautiful car and certainly something to be looking for. Finished EcoRun on the second day at the Deerhurst Resort up in Huntsville. We drove a total of 7 vehicles between the journalists, and this is a video of the Green Jersey Award to one of the journalists who won it. It wasn't me, but I finished about midstream, mid-pack out of the journalists, and as you can see here by this chart, where I finished and where the journalists finished, and their fuel efficiencies / EV efficiencies. And a couple things I want to point out is that I got really good efficiency in the Ioniq 5, in the 13s, and some of the other journalists as well. And on the EV6, I actually took top place for that particular vehicle with the best efficiency of the runs at 13.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer rating. So that's what that means. and did okay on the plug-in vehicles and the hybrid vehicles as best as I could. The second day we had a lot of rain, storms coming and going, a lot of wind and a lot of uphills as well as some downs, of course. So my efficiencies in the the G80 weren't as good as they could be because of that. Plus they were filming me, so I was doing maneuvering and stuff during that. And then the Sportage, which is just a plain hybrid vehicle, I did the best I could, and then the finished up with the Volvo C40. All in all, I finished okay, and I'm very happy with the results. Well, we're here on the last day, just heading back to Toronto. We're stopping for a pit stop just south of Barrie. I'm having a quick look at the Genesis GV60 now. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to drive it during this run with some scheduling conflicts, so we had to juggle things around. But I am hoping to get a press review vehicle within the next few weeks to be able to do a full review. But just going through it right here on the surface, it's a very, very lovely car. With more room interior than I thought it would have, so it'll be surprising when you see eventually my review on it, because I have been watching some South Korea content and some UK stuff, so it'd be nice to get my hands on it, check out the efficiencies, the ride, all that kind of stuff. So that'll be up and coming, but this is basically it for EcoRun 2022. We had a great time. We were able to test a lot of vehicles and see how well they performed driving at the CBB limits and trying to see what you can maximize. Not driving below, but driving at or a little bit above. See what we could get. So it was a good test of everything. Good to meet a lot of the journalists from across Canada, and I want to thank AJAC for inviting me. And thank you very much for watching this episode. Please continue to subscribe on YouTube. If you're interested in Patreon, you know how to find me. And everybody stay safe, and until the next show, I'll see you when I see you. Take care and bye-bye.